rivers are the arteries of the jungle. If you're lost, the best way to get out is to follow them downstream and hope that you make it to a native village. I'm doing that in reverse, heading into the rainforest to where the Nuaulu have their settlements. This triangle is a warning sign, just like our road triangles. And it's left here by the Nuaulu people to warn me that if I stray from either side of the path, I may fall victim to one of their deer traps that could just as easily kill me. Here's one of those traps that signpost earlier on was warning me of. There's an animal trail here. It looks like jungle pig, and above it is a tripwire. And that leads down to the trigger, which is set very finely just here. And of course, once that's set off, this spear is thrown straight through the pig by that springy arm. It seems incredible that with just a few sticks and rattan, the jungle string, you can make such a lethal trap. The Nuaulu employ many sorts of traps, depending on the terrain and the kind of animal they're after. Every action in the forest requires respect to the ancestral spirits that dwell here. To ensure the success of the traps, the Nuaulu make an offering to their ancestors. If they don't, they believe bad luck will befall them.
Hello.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
The Nuaulu are divided into 5 clans and believe each one was created by an animal ancestor. The Nipani clan have the couscous as theirs, so they'll never eat one. To do so would be like eating their grandmother. Ancestors are revered, and shamans like Raja Penang contact them for help and advice. Son here is sharpening the most important tool that any Nuaulu has, his parang. And with this, he can fashion almost anything that he needs from the jungle. With a parang in your hand, you can find food, water, and make a temporary shelter. The great thing about the rainforest is that everything you need to build a shelter is here. The sago palm provides the roof, while bamboo, the main structure. Light, strong, and easy to shape, bamboo is a fantastically versatile building material. A few chops and you have the classic A-frame of a Nuaulu hunting lodge. The leaf of the sago palm is strong and waterproof. Individual fronds can be stitched together with a sliver of string made from the central rib. The classic jungle knot is a simple twist and tuck. Within half an hour the roof is complete, which is just as well. They get over 3 meters of rain a year. Collecting food is strictly divided between the sexes. Only men can hunt the larger animals, which often entails leaving the village for a week or more. The women forage closer to home. This fishing basket is beautifully woven from bamboo, using an old basket as a frame. think I'm doing all right, but I'm nowhere near as fast as the women. You've got to have nimble fingers for this job. Of course, the only problem with having to learn from the women all the time is you've got to put up with all their bickering. I haven't broken it yet. This environment is so productive that there's an easy meal to be had almost everywhere. This river is teeming with life. Can I have a look? Let's see what they've got in their baskets. I've got a crab. There are also shrimps and little fish in here. It's incredible. There's a meal to be had here really easily, as long as you've got the right tool. For that, they're using this basket made from a single piece of bamboo. And of course, if you've got bamboo, you've also got the means to make a fire and a cooking pot to cook your meal. They put the prawns in the tube with some water, and now they've stuffed it with manioc leaves to cook with it. And an extra big wadge just to finish off with to seal in the steam. Ingenious. Another astounding use is flooring, both for hunting lodges and the houses in the village. Split and spread flat, it takes only a few big bamboo to make a raised floor to protect you from the jungle nasties and the damp. Smooth and springy, it will last for years. And with fire, you can cook your prawns in that bamboo steamer. Wow. You know, a meal like this sort of epitomizes survival. You start out with the right resource, in this case bamboo. You couple that with a bit of knowledge, and at the end you get the reward. Beautiful jungle shrimp. Enak. Yeah. It can be a veritable supermarket of food. But if you don't know what you're doing, dangers lurk everywhere. It's claustrophobic, easy to get lost in, and many of the plants are poisonous. Even those that are edible pose other problems. Without question, the most important tree to the Nuaulu is the sago palm. It not only provides the raw material for their homes, but is also their staple food. Remember what I said about those insects? You've got to keep your eyes open. Of course, some insects provide a tasty snack. I'm really impressed. These guys are putting their hands into an unsmoked bee's nest and pulling out honey. But frankly, you've got to draw the line somewhere. My tooth just isn't that sweet. The inner core of the sago tree is packed with starch, but it's too woody to eat raw. So generations of Nuaulu have perfected a processing system made out of the tree itself. The base of the tree makes a hod, as well as a system of basins and sluices into which water is poured to release the starch from the pith. piece of coconut fibre is secured with some more pieces of sago to act as a sieve. The mixture is now allowed to sit in the basin and the starch will settle to the bottom. But this is the most ingenious bit. Sago fronds also make the carrying pot. I didn't even attempt it. Once the water is released, the sago is ready to be packed and taken home. 4 trees will feed a family for a year. Cooking it couldn't be easier. Just add boiling water. This is the paste from the sago plant. It looks like wallpaper paste and it probably tastes like it. But fortunately I don't have to taste it because according to Nuaulu tradition I came from a sago tree and so this is one of my ancestors and I'm not supposed to eat it. The marvellous thing about the sago palm is that it goes on producing food long after it's dead, when it becomes the home to these little beauties, palm grubs, which they tell me are a local delicacy.
Bagus, bagus.
Break it open, like that.
Bagus. Bagus.
Yeah, sort of. The jungle is a wonderfully rich source of food and shelter, but it can just as easily provide clothing as well. A strip of bark from the sapani tree, soaked and hammered flat, becomes a bark cloth. Until very recently, this was the only clothing a Nuaulu would wear. It's now used almost exclusively for the ritual of male initiation. In a secluded area, away from the women, the initiates are dressed in the regalia of manhood. A loincloth of bark and the red headscarves is symbolic of Nuaulu bravery. For these boys, it's a big day. It marks their arrival into manhood. And for the future of the Nuaulu, it's crucial. Rituals like this keep their sense of community and pride intact, and their culture alive. The Nuaulu are well aware of the modern world. They trade food for metal to make their parangs and for the treasured red cloth. And they hope to keep their culture alive as their ancestors would wish.
At the beginning of the world, the ancestors taught us everything we need to live in the forest. We must respect their wishes and continue to teach our children those ways so that they will understand the forest and be able to live here forever, or until the world ends.
Like all of the places I've been to in this series, the jungle is a harsh environment. But once you take the time to see it through the eyes of the native inhabitants, people like the Nuaulu, you begin to realize that not only can you survive here, but you can also enjoy the experience. Of course, the secret is in knowing how. Many of the skills we've seen have taken thousands of years to acquire. If we're not careful, we could lose them in only a couple of generations.